All right, welcome to another episode of The Brosen. I'm your host tonight, Adam Drake, your favorite bro.
Hey, hold on a second. We're going with favorite bro?
What?
Favorite bro.
I'm favorite bro.
We know Mitch Hudson is the favorite bro.
No, well, Mitch isn't here, is he?
All right, do your little intro, favorite bro.
Welcome to another episode of The Brosen. I'm your host tonight, Adam Drake. First up, I got my ballet dancing bro, Mr. Willie Mellina.
Grand Plie coming at you from San Antonio, Texas. God is big enough. Here we are.
Well, Grand Plie. What? What was the
Grand Plie? It's a large plie. For those of us who can only hear, you have to watch the YouTube.
That's beautiful. All right, moving on. We got our Nepo baby bro, Mr. Sam Jenkins.
What's going on, guys? Because Mitch is not here, I got to rep the promised land tonight, so.
Yeah, so tonight we do not have Mitch or Ben. So we have our backup bro, Mr. Jordan Roby.
Let's go. Pictures up. Roll sound.
He's first team. He's just too cool for us. So
Mr. Jordan Roby is joining us tonight as one of our hosts, which is awesome. But now we have our valued guest to intro, Mr. Giavani.
What's up, guys? Good to see y'all.
Better known as Rad Thad.
Good to see you.
Rad Thad, also known as Rad Thad. How do you feel, Giavani? How do you feel about Rad Thad?
let's talk about Red
Let's
Dead.
talk about him. I feel I love it, man. George, George is the one who originated this in like season 2.
Okay.
And it's all because of a prank that I pulled on him. So he came, I guess it was the first week of filming, and him and Little James were not in the scenes for the week for whatever reason, but they tended to pair Thaddeus' trailer right next to Big James' trailer. So I fully embraced that and let him know that throughout the entire week. And he went to Instagram and posted a video and was like, the Rad Dad took my trailer. And he's like, this means war. So I just embraced the villain role because I'm not the villain on the show.
Yeah.
So outside of it, I will embrace it and annoy George as much as I can with the Rad Dad.
That's perfect.
So I knew that story, but I didn't realize that was the original. I didn't realize that was the start of it. That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, so Giavani, we always start with, which I'll say Giavani, G Money, G. We have all the nicknames. You're just like the perfect guy for all the nicknames. So who knows what we'll say in this episode? But anyways, G, we like to start with an icebreaker.
Okay.
So my icebreaker tonight actually is, what is your go-to karaoke song?
Go-to karaoke songs. Okay, I have two. I would say my go-to karaoke song, well, actually my main one I would say is A Whole New World. So me and my girlfriend, Bella, we've been called the Aladdin couple. So that is our go-to karaoke song when we are in person. We've perfected it to a T. So I would say that is our go-to. If it's just me, then I'm probably doing Mr. Brightside.
Yeah, Giavani, just give us a taste. Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Brightside.
It's a really
You and
great
me will
song.
do a duet the next time everybody goes karaoke.
I will video that. Willie, what's your go-to?
Feel Like Making Love, Bad Company. I've ripped that one to shreds. Nobody wants to even talk about what happened in Utah with that one.
We're going to play that right now. All right, Roby, what's your go-to karaoke song?
I have to say, every time I've done karaoke in the last couple years, which has usually been involved with a chosen gathering of some kind, I am off in the corner of a room listening to songs on Spotify, trying to figure out what my song is, and then I see folks like Giavani just absolutely killing it on the mic, and I'm like, I just want a little bit of what he has.
No, don't go there.
But I think I think if I had to pick, it'd probably be like a U2 song of some kind, Beautiful Day or something like that.
Good choice.
Yeah, I stand with Roby at Chosen rap parties, dude. Everyone, all the cast is so talented that I'm in the corner and I am not getting on stage and singing anything because everybody's so good.
If you had to,
Yeah, what would it be?
It's apple bottom jeans for sure.
Amazing.
Can we just hear 14 seconds?
That's it.
Boots with fur. That's all I know.
That was so underwhelming.
All right, Sam J.
I mean, we all know it. We all love it. I always do I'm Just Ken every single rap party, the last two.
Ooh.
Luke, Dimian,
did it
and
with
I get
Luke.
up there.
Yeah.
We do it.
Yep.
Luke, Dimian, and I have done it the last two rap parties in a row. But this year, for the season 5 rap party, there is something planned, and we will play that clip on a future episode when it's there. But it's not going to be I'm Just Ken this year. It's going to be something a little different. It's in the
You mean
works. It's in the
season 6?
cards. Season 6. Yeah. Upcoming season 6.
Okay.
But there's something coming.
It's
But
already in the mix. You guys have already
for now-
talked about this.
He's already rehearsing.
Oh my.
The negotiations are in play. The scripts have been turned in. So the season 6 rap party will be something a little bit different. But so far, it's been I'm Just Ken by Ryan Gosling.
G-Money, dude, tell me about what is one of your favorite, and it could be multiples. It doesn't have. We don't have to just do one here. But what is like one of your absolute favorite funny memories specifically from the set of The Chosen? Like, I mean, I know I see you and Jordan and George all the time laughing and cutting up. But what's some of your absolute just nonstop laugh moments on The
I
Chosen?
feel like that happens literally every week on our show. And two, it's like, as the seasons have gotten farther and farther in, material and everything gets more like high stakes, but the jokes just keep on coming, like, behind the scenes. It wouldn't be right for me not to mention Jordan, because what he does before any of the takes is just utterly. I'll go back to that. My first thing is what I will say is what really, if we go back to like the walking on water sequence. So when we did that was like the second week of filming, I think, in season 3. And we all got measured all fitted for wetsuits. I remember. So we were going in and we got up to New Orleans when we were doing this, and huge tank. It was incredible. And the waves were kind of going, and we were just like, so cool. But I was always curious. I was like, I don't know. I wonder if anybody's really going to like wear the wetsuits at all. I kind of want to like just feel like we're actually like there, and like they wouldn't be wearing wetsuits. So me and I think Jordan were going up to everybody, all the rest of the cast, and being like, are you guys really going to like wear these? Or maybe we should just like ditch them and not wear them. Mind you, we just came off of a freezing season doing like Sermon on the Mount in season 2. So like the weather conditions were like nice this season. It was like everything was great. We were like, you know what? It's going to be like probably warm water. This will be fine. So all of us, most of us at least, decided to go without the wetsuits. And that was a terrible mistake, because I still had PTSD. So I had PTSD, just to bring it back to season 2 when we were doing Sermon on the Mount. Adam, every time before we decided to do a take, I still wake up from nightmares hearing you go, all right, guys, lose the coats. And it would be like, taking the coats off, and then to get the camera set, and then we finally did a scene. So fast forward it right back to season 3 when we're in the boats. Everything's good. We're like ready to do this cool walking on water sequence. And all I hear Adam from the side, and he says, all right, guys, here comes the rain.
All right, let's make it rain.
And then just look up, sprinklers start pouring down this water, and it's not warm. It's like chilling water. And the first take, we are all just like in it, which is perfect for the scene. But as soon as the take ended, the sprinklers turned off, I remember all of us looking at each other, and we were just like, we made it mistake by not putting these wetsuits on. And it was like a few takes into it after that. Like I remember Jonathan coming up and he was like, you guys got the suits on, right? Because he did. And like all of us just were miserable. And I think we made like a group decision at lunch to all put them back on. But they were like soaked, to this point. But yeah.
I'll never forget when Noah came back to base camp. I remember specifically Noah. And he was like, I got to come back. And I was like, yeah, what's up, bro? His wetsuit, I got to have it on. I was like, okay, got you. I just remember the reverse course. I'll never forget that.
But those times, I mean, that's something you look at back as an actor and be like, wow, like we got to do that. because all the incredible shows growing up that you get to, whether it was like the movies like Pirates of the Caribbean, when they're in the waters and, you know, the boats and everything like that, or like you watching like Game of Thrones, it's like you get to be a part of something like that. And all of us kind of going through that experience together was really special. But I wouldn't be like, I wanted to bring it back to this. Jordan is a complete jokester too. So like, and I know Liz has mentioned this, so I wanted to second this. Anytime before a scene, and I'll be reading through like scenes like even this season, and I'm like, I have to prepare additionally for this because I know Jordan is going to, you know, distract me to some degree with his humor. Like there was a scene, not to spoil it at all, coming up for season 5. And it's one of our famous walking talks. And a certain moment happens with the character, and we had the shot was on all the disciples, and we're just walking. And it's like showing, I think, me, Jordan, and a few others in this shot. And we're just supposed to walk off camera right. And this happens, and then it's like, all right, rolling. And then Jordan just turns to me, and he's like, what the heck is wrong with this guy? And then I'm just like, dude, like he's like reacting to like what happened like in the scene. He's just like, what the heck is wrong with him? And I'm like starting to crack up with like action. And I'm like, oh, I had to get it together so hard because he does that so much. And he's such a jokester.
Do you feel like he does that for everybody, you know, on set, or do you feel like he does it for himself to kind of ease tensions, or do you feel like it's for everybody? If he senses there's tension on set that's unneeded, do you think he does that to kind of dissolve that tension a little bit?
He's just like such a good guy, and he has like such good energy too. And like and the thing is, like, we're all like goofing around also, like even like with Sermon on the Mount, there was a lot of scenes to where like a lot of us would be background in certain moments. And it's like, okay, like, guys, we're not going to be like, you know, seen too much in this scene, but we want to, you know, you want to be like making sure like you're tying rope or doing something. And Jordan and Austin had this bit to where Jordan would go finding little things like a piece of grass on the ground. He'd go up to Austin and be like, Nathaniel, what do I do with this? What do I do with this? What do I do with this? And Nathaniel and like Austin would just be like, I don't know what to do with it. Like, just put it away. Just put it away. And yeah, but it's like those moments are some of my most treasured too, because it's like even days when we're not really doing like a ton, like being featured, it's still like, it's just your buddies that it's like you're going to summer camp with. That's what it feels like. So it's like you get to hang with your family on set.
I will say one of the advantages that I get, you know, different from Adam, is that I get to see you guys a lot more at base camp and whatnot. And on that same note, I mean, you guys pull some pranks at base camp.
It just it tends to happen this way. The last few seasons that George hasn't gotten wrapped. He's always like filming after me, so I always usually get wrapped before him. That's how it's happened like these last couple of years. So I've made it a plan just to write a little note. I would go to the AD office, and I would just write like Rad Thad on a sheet of paper, and I'd go to, you know, his bungalow, and I would just like post my name on there just to let him know when he wraps that Rad Thad has now taken not only his trailer, but he's taken his bungalow as well. So I tend to do that every season as tradition.
Yeah, Giavani, I wanted to ask a question about something you said earlier, where you were talking about you watch these big shows like Game of Thrones, and you get to be in big scenes like the Walking on Water. So what has it been like overall to watch our show progress since season 1? Because it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And I've known you've been on some sets. Correct me if I'm wrong. You played a scientist on Doom Patrol. All the way in season 1, right? Yeah. So being on a big set like that and seeing our show progress as much as a show like Game of Thrones or Lost or The Walking Dead, getting bigger and bigger and bigger, what's that been like for you?
It's been amazing, man. It's so cool because I don't think any of us had this planned. None of us saw it coming, I think, because I still think about being on set for The Chosen the first day. Yeah,
I was gonna say that you're one of the OGs because it was you, Liz, and Jordan in that like first scene where we only had a couple disciples and nobody else had joined us.
I think Jonathan was there, and Alok and Anne I think were there too, because it was Mary Shabbat, and as an actor too, it's just like you're just happy to get a job in the beginning too. You just want to, like, you know, maybe have something for your reel, or at the same time just, you know, have something to show your reps. But it's unlike anything I've ever been a part of. And I think maybe because I've stepped on those other steps as like a co-star or a guest star, and being able to like grow with everybody on this show has been truly special. And I just knew too, from like the first day walking on set, it was not just the cast was special, but the crew was special too. Because I've never seen a set that had no egos on it, and then at the same time, like, everybody meshed so well together. One of my fondest like memories too from like season 1, you know, I won't get too personal or anything, but I was going through like a struggle in the second half of season 1, and I remember Willie like coming to my trailer, and we talk about it, and he's like, "Hey man, do you mind if I pray for you?" And it was literally just he was like a brother to me, like, that season too. And I was like, that's so cool, because like I never felt this was just a job from the very beginning. It always just seemed like something deeper than that. And then like here we are years later, almost entering season 6, and it's pretty incredible, because I don't think most people can enter, you know, shows and go on like this to have this type of experience.
That's awesome, man. Dude, that's so
Remember,
cool.
like it was
That's
yesterday,
good.
man.
Yeah.
Living in Texas? Tell us about
Living
that.
in Texas. Yeah.
The greatest country in
Me
the
and
world.
my girlfriend Bella, and yeah, I know you guys have had a chance to meet her too. We're living down in South Texas right now. That's a story of its own. What's crazy about that is that it was before season, I think it was when season 3 had already come out or was about to come out. But she was at a point in her life where The Chosen really sparked her faith more. Her mom, you know, showed her the show, and it really spoke to her faith. And mind you, like, obviously we didn't know each other at this point. And she was like, "Hey, and she works as a news reporter and a sports reporter. And she's like, I want to get an interview with someone on The Chosen. Thaddeus is my first choice, so I have to go and get Thaddeus as the interview." That's completely a lie. Not the Thaddeus part. But she's like, it was like, I need to, like, whether it's Dallas or Jonathan or, you know, or Paris. And she ended up getting an interview with Dallas, and, you know, they had this incredible talk, and it was like months later, I ended up seeing the interview, and that's how we started talking from there. And The Chosen, for me too, has been such a personal faith journey myself. So I don't know. I think God works in like mysterious ways that way, and brings people together when they're not looking. And yeah, it's just pretty special.
Dude, talk to us about that. Like, I want to hear about like how The Chosen's been a faith journey for you. Like tell us about that.
Yeah, man. It's what's pretty cool about it. Like, I was in Los Angeles studying for a few years, and I'd graduated from Michigan State. I was studying acting back in Michigan before moving to LA. But I was just at a point in my life where the work that I was doing, I didn't feel fulfilled doing it. And the type of training too, coming out of school, you know, we're reading and doing scenes from great playwrights, whether that's like, you know, Tennessee Williams or David Mamet or Arthur Miller. And then you just want to be a part of something that potentially can be bigger than yourself. And you don't always get that chance as an artist, especially coming out. And I come from like an Italian American family too. My mom's one of 6 kids. So like leaving Michigan to go to LA, that was like a big change. You go from seeing your family, you know, once, you know, like every day, to going to LA, maybe seeing them twice a year. And I just wasn't happy where I was in my career. This was early 2018. And at the same time, like I wouldn't say like I was close to my faith at all. Like I grew up Catholic, but I never really had a relationship with Christ, if that makes sense. It was just, it seemed like that. Totally. It's just like, it seemed like it was just something that you did. You know, you go to church on the holidays, and, you know, you pray to God, but not really having a relationship. And for whatever reason, I can't explain why. It was just a time in my life I felt like I needed that. So I was debating going back home to Michigan to spend time with family and contemplate if I ever really wanted to do this anymore, because I just wasn't having fun with it. And my friend, she was doing a lot of nonprofit work in Los Angeles at the time. And she was like, why don't you come like help me out? Like you can help out at this nonprofit. It's all about giving back. You know, we work with homeless shelters. We work at like soup kitchens, and you work at like on certain parts of your life too, that you want to, you know, get better at. And at the same time, you're giving back. So I was like, I was very resistant. Cause I'm focusing on my work. I'm doing my acting classes. That's kind of what I'm just trying to do right now. And she's like, trust me. I would suggest just doing that. And I said, what do I have to lose? So I got involved, and we were, you know, like I said, giving back, going to homeless shelters, and you could focus on different criterias and different parts of your life. So for my career, I said I wanted to book my first series, but for spirituality, I said I wanted to get closer to God. So you make like little routines every day as being accountable to yourself of how you're going to accomplish this goal. And for me, I was still doing my classes, but I was deciding to read the Bible every day and then talk to God every day in the morning and at night. So I was reading his word, not really understanding what I was reading, but still doing it anyway, just trying to dive deeper. And what's crazy is it was like a few weeks before the program ended is when the audition for The Chosen came. And I was like, didn't know what it was at the time. I was just like, okay, well, yeah, I'm going to put myself on tape. It's, you know, about Jesus and the disciples. And I read for Simon, and last minute, my scene partner or like, you know, my reader could not help me. So I was like, I need to get this tape in tomorrow. I have no reader. So I was like, all I'm going to do is I'm going to like tape the other readers' lines, the other characters' lines on these boxes that I like stacked it in my apartment. And I was like, I'm just going to like, I know my dialogue. I'm just going to, you know, keep my pacing and react off that. Because the other thing I could have done was recorded the lines, but at the same time, I'm like, then you have to worry about timing as, you know, and I didn't want to do that for a performance. But long story short, I sent that in and was like, I'm definitely not getting a call for that. I didn't even have a reader. And then 2 weeks later, you know, I had the call back, and it was for Andrew. And I was like, that's crazy. And they wanted me, because I had a rep down in the South, they wanted me to go to Texas for the callback, which I didn't have the money for at the time. Didn't know they were doing auditions in LA. I was really green. And my reps basically reached out and were like, hey, can we do a self-tape or a Zoom for the callback? And they were like, hey, we're not really doing that for the callback, but we'll let you know if anything changes. So in our industry, that's pretty much like better luck next time. But Dallas and casting so graciously let me do the callback for a self-tape for Andrew. And I felt so connected to the material, because sometimes you get a script and it could be even like a procedural 1 page, and it's so hard to get the dialogue down. But even though these auditions were, you know, 3 different scenes, the characters were so specific and had so much heart to it that it was easy to get it down. I felt so connected to it. And then I remember having a Skype with Dallas, you know, a couple weeks later, and he's like, well, we just want to make sure that, you know, we're not interviewing any crazies or bringing any crazies onto set. And I was just like, no, you don't have to worry about that. And then he was just saying, we want you. We just don't know where we're going to place you, but we'd love for you to be a part of it. And I don't know, man, like that just, for me, there were so many obstacles to not getting it. And at the same time, I look back and I'm like, the 2 things I wanted most, which was to like get closer to my faith. And then at the same time, be able to support my family with like what I love to do. And the 2 things just happened to merge into one, which I don't think that's coincidence.
Yeah. Like that's so cool though too. And then, so the 2 things you were pursuing molded into one. And then now for the last 6, 7, 8 years, you've been able to continue that journey. And I assume, now from season 1 to season 6, not only as you've grown as an actor, but you've probably also grown in your faith, right? And since those have been like so close together, right?
Yeah, man. And it's just brought so many incredible things into my life. It brought, me and my girlfriend Bella together. It brought, being able to support my family at the same time, and like just giving me an outlet to explore my creativity. And it's given me a family away from home too. Like, I love seeing you guys, and I love, seeing everybody when we get to go back and work. And it's made me want to be a better person too through playing Thaddeus, because, he's taught me a lot just by playing him, and how to treat people, and not only my family, but people I'm just coming into contact with for the first time. It's certain things I think come into your life that once you have them, you can't imagine your life without. And this is like, being a part of the Chosen is definitely that for me. And I think it's humbling just to see how it's changing so many people's lives in the world.
I heard that you said sometimes you would do the voice back, but you didn't want to do it for that one. So you literally just said the lines and had no response. You had no.
No, I didn't have any response to it. No.
So then you would just take a break and then just.
Yeah, I was just like imagining like what they would be saying, or in this moment, or how they would be, coming at me with the line. Yeah.
Yeah. At that point, Giavani, when you were still in the audition process, did you have any idea, like, what was communicated to you about kind of the concept of the show?
Yeah, I mean, just honestly on the breakdown, because I was so green, I didn't have like a ton of information. I think I wasn't really like searching for it as much. All I knew it was like, hey, it was filming in Texas. To have a Middle Eastern accent, because there would be accents in the show, and it was about Jesus and his disciples. And I just remember like growing up in school, watching projects, of the disciples and Christ. Nothing stuck with me. So I wasn't sure, if it was going to be something that was relatable. But as soon as I read the material and read the scenes, it was unlike anything I've ever read before. Because these characters were like, it felt like you knew them. It felt like there was like mirrors of yourself in each of these characters. And even reading Simon, who's a complete 180 from Thaddeus, I saw parts of myself in Simon, and it was just, you read certain things, it's like, this is a story that needs to be told in this way. So I just knew that it was really good writing, and it was just really easy to dive into and connect with.
Do you watch the episodes? 'Cause I know some actors, some artists, have different takes on that. Are you somebody who likes to watch, your episodes, or in episodes just in general?
I never used to. Like, I hated watching myself, man. Like, I'm so critical of myself when it comes to my voice, the way I look. But I've gotten better over the years, because I feel like that's kind of our responsibility to do it, just to know like how we're being perceived, and like if there's any adjustments we need to make for the next time. So I like to watch them at least the season through once before we start each new season, just to get the tone and the vibe. And then it just like emotionally, you can pick back up from where we left off, and then going right back into like the next season. I love doing that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think one of my favorite memories, or one of my favorite, actually not a memory because I wasn't there, but season 1, one of my favorite episodes is episode 5. I love the voiceover that you have, or the narration that you have over the wine miracle.
If the smith wants to change the horseshoe or the plowshare or the pothook, he has only to put the iron back into the fire and reshape it to fit his designs.
Like, what are your memories of, and even Adam and the guys that were there, like, what are your memories of shooting that? Because that to me is cinema at its best, is when you have a narration over action, and the two different scenes are separate in a way. Mm-hmm. What are your memories of shooting that scene? Because I absolutely love that scene.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it was so cool. And I felt like honored to say those words. The way Tyler and Ryan in Dallas, craft these characters out. And especially the topic of it was, there's no turning back.
What used to be a shapeless block of limestone or granite begins its long journey of transformation. And it will never be the same.
This is kind of his first public miracle. And this is kind of like the beginning of something, very special, but also at the same time, we know where this story is headed. So I just remember honing like, hey, this is like a big responsibility, and like hopefully I can do it justice by bringing their words to life. And I loved it too, just because Thaddeus, and me and Jordan have talked about this too, Thaddeus and little James aren't really mentioned a ton in scripture. But at the same time, that gives us such a sense of responsibility and freedom to bring to life these disciples that may not be known as much. So I thought it was an amazing opportunity for people to know Thaddeus according to what the Chosen and according to what our writers laid out. And I just remember everybody at that table. It was, Shahar and Noah and Jordan and Liz, and then, talking to Liz like through that monologue. I was lucky because we have a very talented cast, but they're incredible people too. And especially like our crew and our cast, like I felt so comfortable being there. Like I never felt like, oh, I got to put on like this performance. It's like, no, it's just like you're with your brothers and your sisters, and you're putting this on, and it just felt like really intimate.
What has it been like shooting this show with the cast and crew being the way that they are, knowing everyone for so long and coming back saying it's a second family? How is that culture compared to other sets you've been on?
It's hard to say, because I've had, on other sets I've been on, maybe I was on for like a day or maybe a week, depending on what sets, but, and they've all been great. It's just, I think the difference is, I don't know. I think it's pretty special when you walk on day one and it feels the way it feels with our set. And the one thing too, like I remember on the Shabbat dinner, for instance, it was the first day, and your dad was like duking it out in the best possible way with us actors, because it was so cold that night. It was freezing for anybody who remembers that day. It was freezing. We were like chewing on ice cubes to make sure like our breath didn't like come across on camera. And your dad, Sam, was like, okay, well, if my actors are going to be cold, then I'm going to be cold too. And he like took his like jacket off, and he was like, with just like a t-shirt, and he stayed like that for quite a while. And I was like, I've never seen like a director like just be like, hey, if my actors are going into the ring, I'm going to go into there with them. And I'm like, that's a leader of men. And like, that's like, you just feel safe automatically. And, what Jonathan does on a consistent basis, whether it's a co-star or a guest star coming onto our set, like he makes them feel like family. Like he goes right up to them, he talks to them as equals. And I think it doesn't always happen that way.
We make fun of Palace Wankins a lot, but one thing that to give him credit for is that I always see him in something like in the short films I've gotten to direct at college, or my own short film I've gotten to do. Something that I've watched him do and something that I've started doing is like, if the actors are doing something difficult at all, or something that requires like maybe a stunt or something that's out of their comfort zone, he'll always do it first, just to show them. So that one scene where you guys were all escaping and running into the water together, he was in there first. He got in there. He was making sure there weren't any snakes and whatever else is in whatever creepy crawlies under there. He's always gotten in there first. So we make fun of Palace Wankins a lot, but that's one thing.
What do you got? You got a nickname for him?
Chalice Dinkins? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah. No, Talus Pinkins.
Talus Pinkins.
Yeah.
It's Chalice Dinkins, guys.
What will happen if I go on set this season and call him that? Will I be in season 7?
Please do it.
He will be angry. You'll get the look.
I'll get the look and be like, hey, we just want to let you know that it's been great knowing you as Thaddeus on the show, and we wish you the best. You've been recast.
Yeah, there's some strip cups coming out tomorrow, and these cuts. I don't know. I think you're gonna lose some lines tomorrow.
Yeah. All of a sudden, Thaddeus has 0 lines.
0 lines. That's great.
D, so you said you studied at Michigan State. Was that where you first started studying, or when did you first start to get on stage, class?
No, man.
What was the?
So I honestly, I think subconsciously I always knew I maybe wanted to do it, because I was always into films growing up, like going to the movies with my friends. We'd always, whatever we were watching, we'd always come back home, and we had this like little camcorder that we went on like around the neighborhood and would like film our own little movies and skits. And it consisted with Captain America shield, a scream mask, and like any twigs we could find as swords. Those were our props, and those determined what types of characters we were going to play on each day. Made no sense whatsoever, but we had a blast doing it. But
how do we get a hold of one of those videos, G? Can we get a hold of one of those?
If I can find those small little cassettes, I promise you, I will give it to you. I will give.
That's, you got to work. That's your homework.
That is my homework. I'll try to make this happen for y'all. And that'll be the end of my acting career. It gave me an outlet to express myself. I was a confident kid early on, but because my mom raised me as a single mom for a good amount of my life, until I didn't have my biological father around. So she raised me as like a single mom growing up for most of my life. But I remember in 4th grade, my confidence hitting pretty hard is when my stepdad passed away pretty suddenly. And that's when I remember a switch kind of happening. And internally, I had never grown up being like, oh, like it's I just don't have a dad. Like that's okay. But when my stepdad passed, it was more so like, I felt like I had to have this chip on my shoulder because God did me wrong in a way by taking like the second chance I had at a dad. So I remember losing a lot of confidence and being very, very shy as a kid. And I grew up playing sports too, but I wasn't as confident that I needed to be doing that. And it wasn't until it was like junior year of high school that we needed a speech class to graduate. And I did not like talking in front of people at all. And my counselor was like, well, if you want to graduate, you need to take some type of speech class. And I remember she was like, there's, speech, there's debate, or there's radio and television. You could do that. And I remember like a film that always inspired me was like Good Will Hunting, because I related in a way to Matt Damon's character. But yeah, I was like, I'll do radio and TV. That sounds great. And that was the first time I was able to express myself and like create our own scripts, write our own material. And just anytime I felt like expressing what the character needed to be expressed with, I felt alive doing that. And I felt seen doing that. So that's beautiful, man. I think at a young age, subconsciously it did, but it gave me kind of like a pathway to be able to express myself and then also share whatever I was going through. And hopefully someone watching one day could maybe get the gift that I wanted to give to them through that. So, it gave me an empowerment to try to help people doing it.
That's so beautiful. Did you do a play your senior year, or did you wait till?
You know what? I was scared to death. I copped out because I was playing baseball my senior year, and I was like, I forgot the play they were doing auditions for, but I was so terrified because I wasn't, trained to be an actor. So I was like, I have baseball practice. There's no way I'm going to be able to. So I talked myself out of it. But after graduating high school, I did my research. I found, an acting coach that I was recommended to and did my best to study until moving to LA after I graduated college. And that was, I'm so glad I did it that way. I actually had a really bad audition story. It was right out of high school. I was doing extra work for this show. It was called The Wannabes. And I think it got picked up it was on Stars for a little bit in Australia. It went a couple seasons, but I was like, oh yeah, like this will be cool.
This is in Detroit?
It was in Detroit. Yeah. It was like in the outskirts of Metro Detroit. And I was like, oh yeah, like it'll be cool, like to be on a set. And then you hear these stories every once in a while. It's like, oh, like this person got discovered at a coffee shop. This person got discovered at on a set. And I was like, that'd be crazy if that happened. And it's the end of the first day. All the extras are like, we're done. They were filming in this soundstage. And then one of their producers were going up to like a lot of the guys there and just being like, hey guys, would you like to read for a role? And I was like, internally, I'm like, oh, it's like happening. That's crazy. And I was like, this is law of attraction type stuff right here. This is crazy. And she's like, have you done any acting before? And I'm like, I did some radio and television classes in high school. And she's like, oh, that's fine. Yeah. Like, here's your sides, like come in tomorrow and you'll read. And we're bringing everybody in who's interested in reading. And I was like, great. And I got in my car and I didn't mean to ask when the audition time was, where I go for the audition, anything like that. I was like, my first day on like a professional set. And I'm like, I'll just show up with the extras tomorrow and they'll tell me what to do. So I wake up at like 7 a.m., get to set by like 7:30, and I literally sit with the extras all day. And I'm thinking in my mind, like, as long as I grind these lines out, I don't know how to break down a script at this point. I'm like, as long as I need to work harder than anybody here. So I'm just going to grind these lines as hard as I possibly can. And literally for hours and hours and hours, I'm just looking at the lines, just trying to memorize them. And I stay until like the end of the day. So they wrap at like 5 o'clock. So I've been in this room for like hours just waiting. And they finally call us in, which I probably could have just showed up at like 4 o'clock or something like that. But they call us in and I do everything you're not supposed to do in an audition. I walk in and I shake hands with everybody. And unless casting, like everybody, yeah. I'm like, oh, this is like a job interview, right? You just shake hands with everybody.
Dude, I've done that so many times. Not TV and film.
And they're like, okay, do you need the sides in your hand? And I was like, oh, does it matter if I have them or not? And they're like, well, yeah. I mean, like on the day, you're not going to be able to have them, so we'd like to see you do it without, if that's possible. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like, I don't need the sides. We're good. And then I proceed to look straight down the lens. And you're not supposed to do that, obviously, either. My reader's on the far end of the room. And we start the scene. And I mumble the first line. And then I proceed to blank on everything that I had studied. And I couldn't get anything out.
No.
It was like a guy asking out a girl. That's all I remember about the scene. And I was like, and he's supposed to be confident and suave. And I'm like, what is this? And they're like, you can read the script if you want. And I'm like, thank you. And then I'm just like reading as I'm like going up and down. And I just remember the audition being over. And they're like, that's great. Like, thanks for coming in. And then I proceed to shake everybody's hand again. And I'm like, sorry, guys, this was my first audition ever in my life. And they're like, no, it's okay. And I left. And I remember like passing like someone else who was working an extras cast. And they're like, oh, how did it go? I'm like, I think I bombed it. I told them it was my first audition ever. And they're like, oh, I'm sure they won't hold that against you. And needless to say, I didn't get the role. But
we need some names. Producer email. We need some names of producers. We got to try to find that tape because that would also be a really
that would be a great tape.
Yeah,
I would honestly be stoked to see that. But I'm glad I didn't because if I had gotten that, it's like you're so green and you're just learning about the business, and then it's like, what are you really doing?
That's our best audition story that we've had, as far as especially bombing. But that's our best, that's probably our best audition story.
It was horrifying. Horrifying. I don't wish that on anyone.
I think what comes to mind when I think of you, Giavani, is your professionalism. I don't think anybody is as good as you are, with that. When you come to set, you're a total professional and you have an amazing attitude.
Always early.
And I'm just curious, what's kind of your secret to that? What's your kind of process to that? Does that come from your upbringing? Does that come from your theater? Does that come from being an athlete, from in sports? I mean, because I don't think anybody's just born with that. I don't think that's necessarily that easy. So I'm just curious kind of what your secret is to that, because, in your line of work, it's tough. I mean, I know you've mentioned in interviews before about how the environments that we shoot in can be tough, whether it's, heat, cold, early mornings, night shoots, whatever it may be, but you're always like very consistent in your professionalism. So I'm just curious, what's your secret to that?
Where's that come?
Well, thanks, man. But I mean, you guys make it easy to throw it back at you guys. You guys make it easy for us. You really do. And we're lucky to have all you guys, and we're lucky to have our cast and our crew, because no other project is like this. But I credit it back to my mom, and I always do, because I know it wasn't easy on her raising me as like a single mom growing up. And she did the best she could while not having, she's remarried now, and like my dad now is so incredible, and I'm so blessed for him. He worked so hard for our family. But growing up, it was really difficult on her because she's trying to play the role of two parents. And she did the best she could. And the best gift she gave me was like the gift for loving people. And I always try to see the best in people. And I always try to see the best in like situations. And that's not to say like I never lose my cool or anything. Like, I'm an Italian American. My Italian can come out, guys. It just happens. But for the most part, like too, it's like I didn't have a lot of confidence growing up. I did feel like not seen a lot of the time. And I think that was not having like a father figure in my life. And I'd be lying to you guys too if I said like, oh, I'm good now. It's like I'm still working through that in my life. And it comes across too, like with like male figures in like high authority positions. Like I always find myself wanting to prove myself to them. So for me, and it's crazy too, like playing a character like Thaddeus who sees the best in people. And so he's, the scenes to where it's like he sees Matthew and he wants him to feel like he belongs. Wow. So seeing that, or like being there for little James. And Thaddeus is teaching me a lot about myself too, to be like, that's the best friend I should have been to myself growing up. Because I wasn't always that to myself. So I think just keeping that in mind, Robes, is that I just want to be able to see the best in people. And I'll always take that road as opposed to thinking negative. And that's with any situation too, because it's a blessing to do what we do. And it's a blessing to be able to touch people on a daily basis and inspire them, because not many people get that chance. And it's pretty lucky to have the family we do. And I'm just thankful to be a small sliver of that with you guys.
Well, I'm super grateful for it as somebody who unfortunately has to make y'all's call times every day. And I know a lot of times they can be very, very early. I really appreciate and just so grateful to work with you.
Likewise, brother.
And I just want to, to say that. And I'm curious. So, now that you've completed, 5 seasons of The Chosen, how has The Chosen sort of changed you either as a person or as an actor? Has it changed your craft at all? Do you see your craft differently? How has it sort of evolved your craft?
It definitely has. To be able to play a character for 5 seasons going on 6. It's like, it's hard not to grow as an actor when you're able to kind of dive deeper and to really flesh out like, the ins and outs of like why a character, why you think a certain way, or how you communicate differently with different characters. And just being on set, like even on scenes when you don't have a lot personally going on, it's a masterclass. Like we're so lucky to have, like any scene you see Jonathan or Liz or any of our guys, like even the guest stars, y'all bring on are so talented, and you learn so much just from watching them. So from an actor's perspective, it's like, I look on playbacks and like, I remember being in the theater when Jordan had his big scene with Jonathan in season 3. And I'm like tears bawling down my face. And I'm like, Jordan's right next to me because I'm so proud of him, because I know what that scene means to him. And I know what that's going to mean to so many people around. And he's inspired so many people through that. I'm so proud of him to know him and to like have been there since day one with him, to see him witness that. And then, to Austin when it's the big, do you see me moment that speaks so hard to so many people. So I can go down the list, I think. And what I love is that they're not just great actors, they're great people. It's great people. We've gotten so close to one another. We literally have a fantasy football group chat in the off season, like we love being around each other. And I mean, how many? I gotta ask though. How many cast and crews have a cast and crew football game that we've just started this past season? It's like
so much fun, man. So much fun.
Which you guys have. I'm haunted by
and
that
I would
Hail
say
Mary
kind of
every night, Adam. Thank you for that.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you for that.
You're welcome. Never forget that arm, baby. Never forget
We'll
this
have
arm, baby.
revenge. Revenge is coming up. Every time I'm in the gym, I'm thinking about that throw and how to defend it next season. but yeah, man, like and it's made me just want to be just better to people. And I hope, because the bar has been set so high, it's like telling the greatest story ever told. It's impacted my faith. It's been impacted my relationships, and like I don't think anything will come close to that. It's given me a family, and yeah, I love you guys.
I love you too, man.
Oh, thanks, G.
Thank you, G.
Of course, man.
Love you too, G.
G, I have a little bit of a lighter question, more for fun. We ask this pretty much to every single person that comes on. So you talked about auditions, talked about different sets and different shows that you love. Your dream role. You can play whoever you want in whatever project you want. What is it? Who is it? What do you want to do? And how can we as the Brosen make it happen for you?
I would love to play Luke Dimian in Luke Dimian's biopic. There'd be some major character work with that.
Yeah, no kidding.
I would like to play.
That's hilarious.
You know what, man? I love the East Coast mobster undercover cop type of feel.
Yeah.
Martin Scorsese is next to Dallas Jenkins, of course. Martin Scorsese is my favorite director, and I would love to. The Departed's my favorite movie of all time, so I would love to do like Leo DiCaprio's type role.
I could see you playing Mark Wahlberg's role too.
Oh, I would love to do that. I would love to do that.
Yeah.
That would be my favorite. I'm just very into like even like any of the Italian movies like Goodfellas or The Godfather, something in that realm or genre I would love to do. I think that'd be great. But I think what also would be fun is like on a comedy side of it, some type of like mockumentary style, which that's why like I want to talk to Mitch about it too, because like I think it's so genius what he's doing with The Promised Land. It is so genius. I remember when he did the screening for the pilot, and it's so funny, and the dialogue is so like charming and quick. Like to do something like that would be.
All right, so Mitch, I hope you're listening. Giavani needs a role for Promised Land.
It's incredible, man.
Well, G money bags, G, all the G's.
Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
For having chosen the Brosen, man. Yeah, that's
Thank
all
you
I
for
got.
having
Unless
chosen
anybody's
the
got any
Brosen.
other G's.
Love
Thank
you
you
guys.
for having chosen the Brosen. Good to have you, G.
Pleasure, honor to.
I mean, if we're going off of G nicknames and we call him and Bella the Aladdin couple, he's the genie. Is we going with that?
I have to check with her. Make sure that's good.
So this is segments with Giavani. I'll go first. Favorite movie?
Ooh, The Departed.
That's one of my top dogs too.
You're
I
good.
love The Departed.
I got you, Giovanni. Barry Sanders or Tom Izzo?
What? Oh, Tom Izzo. MSU, go green, go white.
Go to coffee order.
Medium hot Americano with a splash of almond milk.
Okay.
Ooh, good for you.
Giovanni, would you rather do a day shoot or a night shoot?
Day shoot. No, I'm feeling dangerous. Let's go nights.
Extreme heat or extreme cold?
Extreme heat all day, every day.
Yeah,
I'll
that's me
take
too.
feeding the 5,000 heat. Let's do it.
Go to Disney movie. Besides Aladdin.
Besides Aladdin?
Besides Aladdin.
Oh my God, A Bug's Life. That's the only thing that's the only thing that comes to mind.
Seafood or Mexican food?
I would go Mexican because next to Italian is Syrian food. I would say Mexican food.